power does not collapse because of enemies. It collapses because of weakness within. Today, we confront a truth most refuse to face. Your weakness is plotting against you. If you fail to crush it, it will destroy you, your ambition, and everything you seek to rule. Let me tell you a truth most people spend their lives hiding from. Weakness is never invisible. You think you can conceal it, but it radiates like blood in the water. And just as blood draws the shark, weakness draws the predator. When you hesitate, when you shrink, when you betray yourself with doubt, others feel it. You may think no one notices, but men are animals trained by survival. They recognize fear in your eyes, uncertainty in your words, softness in your spine. To the predator, it is not merely a detail. It is an invitation. Niccolò Machiavelli understood this better than most. He knew that politics, power, and even daily life are arenas of hunger. Everyone is seeking an advantage, and they will take it wherever they can. And the easiest place to strike is not against your strength, but against the fractures you hide within yourself. That is why weakness is fatal. It does not merely handicap you, it broadcasts itself. The enemy does not need to guess where to strike. Your weakness tells them. Think of the ruler who hesitates to punish betrayal. His leniency is read as softness, and suddenly every ambitious man at court begins to whisper against him. Think of a leader who shows indecision before his army. His soldiers lose confidence, his generals start to scheme, and his enemies sharpen their blades. Weakness in this way is never neutral. It accelerates your fall. You may believe kindness, patience, or mercy are virtues, and yes, in private life they may be praised, but in the realm of power, when they are born of weakness rather than calculation, they do not inspire respect, they invite contempt. A man who forgives because he must, because he is too timid to strike, is not seen as noble. He is seen as prey. Consider history. How many kings were toppled not because they lacked armies or gold, but because they allowed their fear, their hesitation, or their softness to show. Power decays not in the moment of confrontation, but in the long rot of weakness unaddressed. The predator does not always attack at once. He waits, he circles, he watches your weakness grow until it guarantees his victory. In your own life, it is the same. Think of the workplace, the social circle, the negotiation table. If you show uncertainty, others maneuver against you. If you fail to speak with authority, someone else speaks louder and takes what you could not defend. If you tolerate disrespect even once, you signal to all around you that you will tolerate it again. Weakness is never a private sin. It is a public signal. This is why the weak are always devoured, because they tell the world without words that they will not resist. And once the world hears that, the predators gather. You must understand, predators are not evil. They are natural. In every arena of life, there are those who hunt and those who are hunted. The choice is not whether predators exist. The choice is whether you become their prey. If you do not kill your weakness will make that choice for you. Machiavelli wrote that it is better to be feared than loved if one cannot be both. But why? Because fear protects you. Love may fail, loyalty may break, but fear endures as long as strength is present. Weakness, however, destroys both fear and love. It removes the foundation of both respect and devotion. Who can fear a weak ruler? Who can love a weak protector? Weakness robs you of both weapons, leaving you naked before those who wish to use you. The harsh truth is this: weakness is not passive. It does not sit quietly in the corner of your life. It speaks, it announces you, it betrays you before you even realize it. And once others see it, they will never unsee it. From that moment on, they will test you, they will push, they will prod, and each time you fail to resist, they will take more, until one day you are no longer standing at all. Weakness does not need a sword to kill you. It only needs time, and predators will always give it to you, because they know the end is inevitable once your flaw is revealed. They do not rush. They wait for you to collapse under your own weight. So when you allow weakness to remain, you are not just tolerating a flaw, you are sending out a beacon, a call that says, here is where I can be broken. Here is where I can be overthrown. Here is where I can be destroyed. Before a man can command the obedience of others, he must first command himself. This is the law of power that few ever understand, and fewer still obey. They crave authority over others, but cannot silence their own inner voices of fear, laziness, and indulgence. They wish to rule kingdoms, but are still ruled by appetites. They dream of greatness while being slaves to weakness. Niccolò Machiavelli knew that the most dangerous enemy of a ruler is not always found in the rival across the border, but in the flaws that live within his own soul. For if a man cannot govern himself, he will eventually be governed by others. He who lacks mastery over his impulses, over his doubts, over his endless cravings, will find his power rotting from the inside long before an enemy lays a hand on him. You may imagine power as something external: armies, wealth, influence, alliances. But those are merely tools. The foundation is always internal. A man without self-mastery can build nothing lasting. He is like a king trying to defend a fortress whose gates are wide open, whose walls are crumbling, whose guards are asleep. Conquest of the outer world means nothing if the inner world is in ruins. Look at those who rose to greatness but fell to their own weakness. A conqueror may defeat nations, but if he cannot defeat his own greed, he will destroy his empire with excess. A ruler may unify a people, but if he cannot master his anger, he will alienate allies and spark rebellion. A leader may inspire loyalty, but if he cannot master his desire, he will betray himself and be undone by scandal. Time and again, history shows us that the absence of self-mastery is the beginning of collapse. Understand this. Men respect discipline, because discipline is strength in its purest form. They may fear your armies, they may envy your wealth, but what truly commands reverence is the man who cannot be shaken by temptation, fatigue, or panic. Such a man is immovable, unbreakable, inevitable. That is why self-mastery is not a luxury. It is the first conquest, the foundation upon which every empire, whether political or personal, must be built. And yet, this is where most men fail. They want to control others while still being controlled by their own habits. They want power but remain prisoners to their own emotions. They hope to lead armies, but they cannot lead themselves out of bed in the morning. They want respect, but they show the world they cannot even respect their own word, their own goals, their own discipline. Such men are not rulers. They are slaves in disguise. Self-mastery requires war, not against others, but against the most dangerous opponent you will ever face: yourself, your mind which whispers excuses, your body which craves comfort, your fear which begs you to remain safe instead of daring. These forces left unchecked will chain you, but when conquered they become weapons. A mastered mind does not sabotage itself with hesitation. A mastered body does not betray itself with weakness. A mastered will does not bend when storms arrive. This is why Machiavelli taught that appearances matter. For a ruler who does not master himself cannot even master the appearance of strength. And once men see inconsistency, they see weakness. And once weakness is seen, the predators gather. A ruler who cannot master himself invites destruction not because of his enemies, but because of his inability to control the battlefield within. Every act of self-mastery adds a stone to the fortress of power. Every time you choose discipline over indulgence, you strengthen your throne. Every time you silence doubt and act with decision, you build fear in your rivals and trust in your allies. Every time you deny yourself a pleasure for the sake of a greater victory, you make yourself untouchable. The world will always test you. Enemies will attack from without. Crises will erupt. Fortunes will change. But if you have conquered yourself, no change in circumstance can break you. If you rule yourself, you cannot be ruled by chance. If you have mastery within, you carry your fortress wherever you go. And here lies the truth. Conquest of the world is possible only for those who first conquer the self. Self-mastery is not the end of the path to power. It is the beginning. It is not optional. It is the price of entry. Without it, you may grasp at power for a moment, but you will never hold it. For power demands a master not merely of men, but of himself above all. Mercy is praised by the weak because it excuses their flaws. They call it kindness, they call it virtue, they call it humanity. But Machiavelli understood what most men dare not admit. Mercy toward weakness is not a gift, it is a poison. For every weakness you spare, every flaw you forgive, every indulgence you allow becomes the seed of your own ruin. When you allow weakness to live, it does not thank you. It grows, it spreads, it learns that you will not destroy it, and therefore it becomes bold. That hesitation you overlook today will become paralysis tomorrow. That indulgence you excuse tonight will become corruption in the future. Weakness does not shrink. When forgiven, it multiplies. History is filled with rulers who chose mercy where severity was required. They imagined their clemency would inspire loyalty, but instead it signaled softness, and once softness is seen, predators gather. The general who spares a traitor creates two traitors the next day. The king who forgives rebellion invites the entire court to test his will. The leader who pardons corruption ensures his entire government will rot. Mercy, when born of weakness, does not elevate a ruler, it dethrones him. Think of it not only in empires but in your own life. When you forgive your laziness, you teach it that it may return tomorrow. When you pardon your fear, you give it permission to whisper again in your next trial. When you excuse your bad habits, they strengthen their grip and begin to own you. Every act of mercy you grant to your flaws is an act of treason against your future self. You believe you are being kind to yourself, but you are in truth preparing your own downfall. Machiavelli warned that a ruler must know when to be cruel, because cruelty, when decisive, often prevents greater ruin. A single severe act may end disorder, while endless mercy allows chaos to spread. This is the dark lesson. Cruelty is sometimes more merciful than mercy itself, for it spares the many by striking the one. To forgive weakness, whether in yourself or others, is to allow poison to seep into the bloodstream of power. Mercy is not inherently dangerous. Mercy, when chosen from strength, when applied with precision, can be a tool. But mercy, when born of weakness, mercy given because you cannot face the severity required, is not mercy at all. It is surrender. It is the silent confession that you are not strong enough to do what must be done. And once men sense this, they will never respect you again. The courtier who defies you once will defy you again if he knows you will not punish him. The rival who steals from you once will steal more if he sees no consequence. Subordinate who undermines you will do it again and again if your mercy shields him. They will not say, "What a noble ruler." They will say, "What a weak master." And they will use your forgiveness as the very weapon to destroy you. Understand this, weakness never respects mercy. Weakness takes advantage of it, it feeds upon it. It uses it as armor knowing you lack the will to strike. This is why Machiavelli advised rulers to be feared rather than loved. Love is fragile, love is conditional, love is fickle. Fear endures as long as strength is present. Mercy that weakens fear is not mercy. It is sabotage, and yet most men choose it. They tell themselves stories. They say, "If I forgive, they will change." They say, "If I am kind, they will be loyal." They say, "If I spare myself this pain, tomorrow I will be stronger." Lies, all lies. Forgiveness of weakness only guarantees that weakness returns. A flaw spared is a flaw multiplied. A betrayal forgiven is a betrayal repeated. A failure excused is a failure reborn. Power does not collapse in a single moment of betrayal. It collapses through the slow decay of unchecked weakness. Every act of mercy you show to it chips away at the foundation until the entire structure falls. The world does not fall because enemies are too strong. It falls because rulers were too merciful to weakness, too timid to destroy what needed to be destroyed. Mercy is celebrated by those who benefit from it, never by those who pay its cost. And the cost is always paid by the one who forgives. The people you excuse today will be the ones who overthrow you tomorrow. The habits you spare today will be the ones that enslave you tomorrow. The fears you forgive today will be the ones that paralyze you tomorrow. In the realm of power, hesitation is death. There is no safe neutrality, no middle ground, no compromise between strength and weakness. The law is simple, brutal, and undeniable. Destroy or be destroyed. Machiavelli taught that weakness cannot be reformed, cannot be persuaded, cannot be negotiated with. Weakness is not a guest that politely leaves when you ask it to. It is an invader. It spreads, it consumes, and it corrupts. If you do not crush it without mercy, it will one day rise and overthrow you. This is why the greatest rulers of history acted with swiftness and finality. They understood that delay is betrayal, hesitation is defeat, mercy is ruin. When a threat appeared, they eliminated it entirely. They did not wound an enemy, they destroyed him. They did not silence a rebellion, they extinguished it to the last spark. For they knew destroyed weakness is a weakness that will return stronger. Look closely at your own life. How many times have you spared a flaw, hoping it would correct itself? How many times have you tolerated a habit, imagining it harmless? How many times have you excused a fear, a hesitation, a vice, thinking you could manage it later, and yet every time it grew larger, every time it claimed more of your will, every time it weakened you further? That is the cost of failing to destroy. Weakness is like fire. If you smother it early, it dies without consequence. But if you let it burn, even for a short time, it will consume everything around it. And when it has consumed all, it will consume you. The fire will not pity you. The fire will not bargain with you. The fire will only obey the law of its nature, to spread, to devour, to destroy. So it is with weakness. Machiavelli warned that those who wish to remain in power must strike first, strike hard, and strike completely. Not because cruelty is a pleasure, but because survival demands it. A ruler who waits until weakness grows visible to all has already lost. The moment others sense his flaw, his hesitation, his inability to act, the circle of predators closes in. At that point, even the most decisive act may come too late. Destroying weakness requires ruthlessness not only toward others, but toward yourself. You must be willing to cut away parts of yourself that betray you. You must be willing to deny comforts that soften you. You must be willing to silence voices within that beg for safety instead of conquest. There is no negotiation with the parts of you that are determined to enslave you. There is only eradication. Men who rise to greatness are not those who carry their weakness with them. They are those who sacrificed it on the altar of ambition. They destroyed their hesitation, their indulgence, their fear, and they did it with finality. And because of this, they could act with decisiveness when others faltered. They could stand when others fell. They could command when others begged. Understand this. The world does not reward moderation. It does not honor half measures. A weakness half destroyed is a weakness saved, and one day it will return with vengeance. You may tell yourself you can control it, that you can manage it, that you can keep it small. That is the lie weakness whispers before it devours you. Every empire that collapsed, every dynasty that burned, every leader that fell, their story is the same. They spared what should have been destroyed. They tolerated what should have been crushed. They allowed weakness to breathe, and in return it suffocated them. This is not a call to cruelty for its own sake. It is a recognition of reality. Nature is not gentle. The predator does not show mercy to its prey. The storm does not spare the weak tree. The battlefield does not forgive the soldier who hesitates. Power is no different. If you do not destroy your weakness, it will destroy you. If you do not crush it with absolute resolve, it will betray you at the moment you most need strength. You cannot be both merciful to your weakness and master of your fate. One must die for the other to live. That is the cruel equation of power. To rise, to rule, to endure, you must destroy completely. Not later, not tomorrow, not when it is convenient. Now, immediately, without hesitation. You have now seen the law that governs power. Weakness is not harmless. It is the invitation that summons predators. The first conquest is always the self, for a man who cannot rule himself will be ruled by others. Mercy toward weakness is betrayal, for what you spare today will overthrow you tomorrow, and in the end there is no compromise, no negotiation, no middle ground. Destroy your weakness or be destroyed by it. Machiavelli did not write for the timid, nor for those who wish to be comfortable. He wrote for those who dare to rule, who dare to rise, who dare to seize the world with unflinching hands. If you wish to join them, do not delay, do not excuse, do not forgive. Crush your weakness before it crushes you, for only then can you stand unchallenged, feared, and untouchable.